In the past, when I used to read any books or any articles or any information, I just read through it, got the information, got the highlights that I needed, but I never took any notes and I never tried to preserve that information like for in the future. Then I started noticing that every time that I needed that information back, I had to go back to that book, look for the information, reread it, and then get what I was looking for. And the same idea was for articles or anything online. I had to look for that article again and get that information back. Then I started to thinking, no, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then when I started investing into how can I take that information and save it somewhere so I can refer to it down the road in the future when I really needed it again. And that's when I started making this system where I can then start putting that information and then I can remember what I read. And this came to my mind as I started reading more books and started reading more information online. Like right now we are inundated with all the online medium of getting information, and be online articles, books, and Twitter, and podcasts and audiobooks and YouTube. Like there's a bunch of places now that we can get information, but how can we make that information stay with us so when we need it down the road in the future we can go back and refer to that without having to actually reread that article or reread that book. So in my system, what I did was I needed something that could be easy to refer to, right? It has to be easy to save the information and it has to be frictionless. Like if I'm reading something, I can just highlight it what I needed or just click a button and save it. It has to be very seamless. I can spend a lot of time looking for that, maybe a notepad to write or something, or a pen to write. No, I need something that can be very quick so it doesn't get me out of the flow when I'm reading that book, for example, or that article. The other thing that I wanted was that I needed to look for that information in as few places as possible. That's why I use now Obsidian, which is a very nice product for taking notes. And most of my notes and information for saving from online articles is going to Obsidian. So that's right now my main vault where I save all my information. But there are multiple other places that you can do it. Beside Obsidian, I also have some other sources of information that I'm going to show you later on. But right now, that's my place where I put everything. And if I need to look something, then I just go back to Obsidian and look for that information. Like I can just do a search and start looking for maybe that book, that article. The other thing that I wanted was that I need to also save where I got that information from. And that's something that it's helping me out with Obsidian and a plugin that I'm using also called Readwise. It helps me out save that information, but it also saves where I got that information from, which is essential. So if I want to go back to the actual article or the actual book, I can do that right away with just a click of the button. So let's go now and let me show you how I take notes from digital books. Right now, I do most of my reading on digital books. There's a reason, because it's very easy for me to carry around those books, and I have my entire library right now in a Kindle. And the Kindle probably becomes my main application where I have all my books and everything is in there. Right now, my main reading device is an iPad mini, and I have here, for example, all of my Kindle books in the Kindle app in there. And for me, it's very easy to use that one because for taking notes, like I just need to use my Apple Pencil. I just basically just get out my pencil, and when I need to highlight something in the Kindle or in the book, I just start highlighting. Like it's very easy, it's frictionless. And even if I have to take a note, I can also do that and take a note right there inside the Kindle app. The second device that I use for reading is actually a Kindle device. So this device, I use it on a specific situations, and I use it most of the time at night. Like it's very easy to read when there's no light, but I also use it in other mediums. Like this is very comfortable to the eyes, and this is the Kindle Oasis. Like it's wonderful. It has the buttons here where I can switch between pages. Like for me, it's also really good. And I also have another Kindle. I have the smaller one, the Paperwhite, and I have that one with my little backpack, my sling, and I take that one everywhere that I go. And if I need to read something, if I'm sitting somewhere waiting for something, maybe I can just grab that little Kindle there and start reading. So it's very useful for those scenarios. So like I said, taking notes in my Kindle, like it's very simple, just highlighting what I needed. And when I do that highlight, it goes automatically into Readwise. And Readwise, what it will do, it will take that information and those highlights, and then it will push that into Obsidian, which is then what I hold all of my notes from my books. And that process is done automatically for me in the background. I just need to highlight, and Obsidian automatically will start getting that information and push it into Obsidian. So then I can search for that information. So you can see now like how easy it is to start accumulating those highlights. So now let's go to online articles. And for online articles, I'm using an application called Reader. And Reader is a wonderful app because let's say if I'm reading something on the web, I can very easily, if it is something interesting, I can very easily just click on the Reader Chrome extension that I have installed on my browser, and automatically that Reader app will take the online article and save it to their database. And right there also in the browser, then I can start doing highlights of what I find interesting about that article. And guess what? Reader then can also take those highlights and it will save them to Readwise, and then it will push them also to Obsidian. So I actually have those online articles and those highlights directly into Obsidian too. Reader is a great app because it not only is useful for highlighting, but it's also useful for saving the article. Like if I want to save it for later, I can just click on that button in the Chrome extension in the browser and it will save it there. And then I can read it when I have more time using the actual Reader app that is available on all platforms. Even on Windows, I have it installed. It's available on my phone, on my iPad. And when I have free time, maybe when I'm in the toilet, then I can go through my Reader app and read that article. And inside the Reader app, I can also make highlights, and those highlights will go into my Obsidian vault with Readwise. So now for newsletters, I use the same app, Reader, because in Reader, I have the ability to have a custom email generated just for my account in Reader. And then that custom email, I can put it into the newsletter sites, and every time that I receive a new newsletter, it will go directly into the Reader app, and I can see it in my list, that newsletter, and then I can start reading it. And if I find something interesting in that newsletter, guess what? I can highlight it also in the Reader app. And again, same idea. When I highlight it, then it will go into Readwise, and Readwise will then push that information into Obsidian. So then I can refer to it down in the future. Now let's go to audiobooks. Audiobooks is a different thing, and with audiobooks, what I do is that I take notes manually, maybe on a quick note, maybe on my OneNote, or maybe in Apple Notes, something that because I listen to audiobooks on my phone. It is very hard, to let you know the truth, to take notes with audiobooks, because for me, I have to actually pause the audiobook and then take the note and then go back, play it again, because while I'm taking the note, I'm gonna miss something that I'm listening. So it's very hard for me. What I do is basically I try to listen to audiobooks that I'm pretty sure I won't take notes about it. So think about a fiction book. Fiction books, usually I don't write notes for those. So I try to push all of my fiction books into Audible, and then I just listen to them, and then I'm pretty sure that I won't need to take notes. But if I ever need it, then I just put out a note in OneNote, put that information in there for what I'm listening, and then after it stays in there, then I can just push it later, maybe into my Obsidian vault, and put that information finally in there in the vault. So for Twitter threads, guess what? I also use Reader. Reader is wonderful for those Twitter threads. So I just get from my mobile, when I'm reading a Twitter that I want to save, I just click on the share button in the Twitter app, and then just pick Reader from my list of available apps, and it will go directly into Reader in there, and then I can read it later, or I can highlight it inside Reader, and that information will also get pushed via Readwise into my Obsidian vault. And now in my Obsidian vault, I have a list of all those Twitter threads that are interesting to me, and they are available now for me to use when I need to search for information. So now let's go to YouTube. Yes, if I need to take notes on a YouTube video, I can also do the Reader app. So in the Reader app, I just need to get that YouTube video and put it there. And then while I'm listening to the video, the Reader app will automatically read and get all the captions from the video. And then I can start highlighting right in there in the Reader app. And all those highlights will also be saved and go to my Obsidian vault. So taking notes for videos is also wonderful. And I do a lot of learning in YouTube in these days. And like you right now are listening to this video, and you are also doing some learning. So go and grab that Reader app and install it also, and then you can start taking notes about videos. So thanks again for staying until the end. Hope that you get some learnings from this video on how to remember everything that you read. Remember to subscribe and receive notifications every time I create a new video. Thank you.